What's going on, y'all? What's up? Welcome back to another episode of A Happy Fucking Life. It is Rhonda. What's going on, y'all? How y'all doing out there? Whether you are watching on YouTube or listening on Spotify, Apple, or Google, thank you so much for being here with me. Today is Wednesday, July 28th. Man, the last Wednesday of the month. It is officially, August is around the corner. So this is the last one for the month. But yeah, thank you guys for listening wherever you are, whatever you're doing. I appreciate you for being here with me. So I'm feeling pretty good. I'm really curious how my voice sounds. I just woke up from a nap. I might sound like it. But I figured I would still give y'all this voice, whatever it is. But I don't know how it sounds on your end. But yeah, I just had a nap and it was so fire. Oh my God, that was such a good nap. There is nothing better than a good nap. A good nap that's uninterrupted. I wasn't too hot. The air was just right. Like, it was perfect. Like, I set my alarm. When my alarm went off, I was ready to get up. So it was perfect. I had a great nap. And naps are just life. I'm glad that I'm incorporating them back into my daily routine. And it may not be every single day, but I do take them pretty often. At one point, I felt like I had kind of fell off with the naps, but now the naps are back. And look, I feel so energized. And I'm just like a better person after I take a nap. I really feel amazing. I really do. So I get my second wind and I'm ready to get to work once I take a nap. So that's where I am with it. Let me go ahead and get things started off. Let's see. So the first segment of the podcast is all the feels. I'm going to let you know how I've been feeling this last week since the last time we talked and saw each other, and what I've been up to. So let's see. The best way to describe the last week is optimistic. I feel very optimistic, which means I'm hopeful, feeling confident about a lot of things that I'm working on, different projects, some different ideas that kind of come to my mind. I'm feeling extremely optimistic. If you follow my main channel on YouTube, Rhonda's Red Sauce, I have been telling different story times that are really out of my element, like completely out of my element. I think for a long time, most of the stories I've been telling on that channel are related to my personal life. So that's easy. But I've been telling these stories lately about like kidnapping and obsession and mystery and crime. And that's not my world at all. Like, I don't even tune into crime podcasts, even though I know how wildly popular they are. I don't know. Like, I started doing it and now I really enjoy it. Now I'm hooked. So I feel really optimistic about where that is going to lead me, what is going to come out of it. I definitely don't feel like I ventured down this road for nothing. You know what I'm saying? I feel like something is definitely coming out of it. Well, it already is things coming out of it, because the fact that I'm telling the stories, that I feel great about it, I'm building my confidence around them. Because again, they are completely out of my element, but I'm really, really enjoying them. And it also reminds me how much I enjoyed mystery stories when I was growing up. Those are the only kind of books I read when I was a kid. So it's kind of taking me back to my childhood a little bit too. But I mean, of course, the adult version that I'm telling now is way different than the child versions, the kid versions I used to read. But yeah, so I'm feeling really, really optimistic. I had a great session this past Saturday for my playwright class. I'm in a playwright class. This is my second session. And just getting into the whole playwright world, and I think even getting into the playwright thing the first time around is what got me back into writing, because I have not been writing. I haven't been writing at all. And I just haven't. I've been creating, but just not writing. And writing was writing was my first introduction to creativity, and I just haven't been doing it. I think I really lost my mojo once the pandemic started. I really kind of lost my fire for writing. Like, I just couldn't really sit down and focus and write like that. So the playwright class, this is, like I said, this is my second session, so it's helped reintroduce me back into writing, which is a good feeling because it's my first love. So I feel really optimistic about things. So this last week has been really good. It's just been, I've taken lots of naps, I've gotten lots of rest. I've done my playwriting class. I've done some work as it relates to a documentary that I'm currently producing. What else? I did a story time on my channel about me and my partner, how we met on Instagram. It's been cool. Just different things I've been creating, and like touch and go and checking in on certain things has made me feel really optimistic. So I'm feeling good, and I'm excited about the rest of this week. I expect it to be just a great, productive week. Not tomorrow. So I'm recording this on Tuesday. It'll drop on Wednesday. I have a session with my spiritual advisor. Shout out to Ange. I'm really excited about seeing her. We meet like at least once a month. And I know she got some goodies for me. I know she is ready to, she always keeps it honest and 100 with me all the time. So I'm just excited about any clarity, any messages she has for me, anything that I should be tightening up or doing or things like that. Because so far, the woman is 100 of 100. She never misses. So yeah, so that's something that I'm really excited about too, to get me, make sure my head is in the game, so that is what's going on with all the feels. So next up, the next segment is best of the best. This is where I'm going to drop some of the best advice I've ever received in my life. Now, this next one is simple. It's so simple. It's not even that it's super profound. And maybe it really stuck to me because of the time in my life, what I was going through when I got this piece of advice. This was back, I'm going to set the scene for you. So this is back in 2017. And I was working for a healthcare company. And I hated this company. I wanted to be in healthcare so bad. And I remember transitioning over to this company from another healthcare company. And I heard nothing but bad things about the company, y'all. Nobody said anything good about it. But for me, I'm truly a person that needs to experience things for myself. And I went for it. And it was a bad idea. I think I hated the company within like the first 3 weeks. I hated the company within the first 3 weeks. Just so many red flags left and right, no matter where I looked. Everything they promised me, that was going to happen and what I was going to be a part of. Everything was shifting and changing. And they just weren't following through on anything. You know what I'm saying? So I just didn't like the company. And days just got worse and worse and worse. And all of a sudden I had anxiety. And I had never really battled with anxiety. I had battled with depression before, but not anxiety. So just the way that I would feel every single morning when I woke up, the feeling in the pit of my stomach, the things that I just couldn't get done. My appetite had changed and it was hard. It was very, very intense. So, and I would catch the train downtown LA for this job. So the way that I was coping, I would tell you the 3 things that I was doing to cope. I would listen to Nipsey Hussle. I would listen to his music, his music, Victory Lap, the album, but specifically the song Victory Lap. I would listen to that song. I would watch Steph and Tasha's videos. And the third thing I would do was listen to this podcast. And this podcast I'm about to reference is by Myleik Teele. Myleik Teele, if you're not familiar, she is the owner of Curlbox. It's a subscription-based service with hair care products. So somebody put me on to her years ago. And I've been checking her out and stuff like that. But then I really took a deep dive into her podcast. When I took a deep dive into her podcast, I felt like I was so desperate that I needed something. I needed somebody to give me some words of encouragement to keep on going. And she definitely became that for me. She became a mentor basically. And she was given so much game and really had the blueprint for a lot of things that worked for her, And as we all know, anybody can give you the game, but you are the magic. And she always says that. So, but the piece of advice that she said, y'all, so simple, what I'm about to say. She gave a reminder that you have the right to change your mind. That was it. And I feel like I needed it at that point in my life because I felt like I made this decision. I committed to this job and I was ready to go. I wanted out. And I was just thinking, without hearing that piece of information, I always felt like I had to at least stay at the company for a year. I had to at least do this. I had to at least do that. But it was just like, no, you have the right to change your mind. Like, it could be about a relationship. It could be about a commitment that you made. It could be about going to brunch. It could be about hanging with your friends. It could be about anything, whatever it is. If it doesn't feel good, if it's not right, if it just isn't working out the way that you anticipated, you have the right to change your mind. And she was absolutely right. That freed me to so many things. Like, that just freed the shackles in my mind around this job and these commitments that I felt like I had to see through. Now, mind you, the company was already not keeping up with its commitments to me, but I was trying to keep up with the commitments I had to this company. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know, hearing that piece of advice really changed a lot for me. It unlocked some things in my head, but then also just in general, going forward, as I started to work on myself and prioritize myself and, get more tapped into my mental health, I just thought about that. Like, I got a right to change my mind. Like, even when I had a therapist, she wasn't a good fit. In the past, I put pressure on myself about sticking it out with the therapist. Let me see if this is going to work out. But it's like my instincts were telling me that she wasn't a good fit. So I had the right to change my mind. I want to say I changed therapists within the second or third session. I could see and feel that it wasn't going to work out between us, that she wasn't going to be what I needed. and I was able to, shift gears. You know what I'm saying? But old Rhonda, without that piece of advice, I honestly probably would have just kept on going to the sessions, going and going and going, spending this time, spending this money, and not getting what I need, not being fulfilled. So that is one of the best pieces of advice, and I still use it to this day. Like I said, the first time I heard her say it was back in 2017, and it's now 2021, and that piece of advice is so empowering that I have the right to change my mind. Even if it's something that, I've talked about, I've shared online, whatever, that I mentioned in the video. If I get to this project and I just don't like it, or it's just something that is not, maybe the timing is off, I have the right to change my mind. A lot of us put pressure on ourselves to continue seeing things through, even when we know we are totally unhappy. We just don't want to do it. We're checked out. We have no interest in this particular thing anymore. And we keep on going. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, you just suffering. All you're doing is suffering. You know what I'm saying? Having to show up to this thing that you no longer want to do. So keep that in mind, y'all. You have the right to change your mind and continue to do that over and over again. You know what I'm saying? Until you find the things that are right for you, that are a good fit. So yeah, so that's my best of the best. That's the best advice, some of the best advice I've ever received in my life. And like I said, I think a lot of it had to do with the timing, when she said that I needed that reminder. So now I'm about to go ahead and jump into the topic. Now, before I do, if you're watching on YouTube, if you can please take a minute to go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, and also leave me in the comments as well, now or at the end of the video. And if you are listening on the Apple platform, if you can please take a minute to go ahead and leave me a review. You can scroll down on the platform. You can scroll down in the middle of it. It'll have the 5 stars. You can go ahead and give a star rating, or go ahead and jot a couple words down, a sentence or two, and give me a review. So I don't care if it's good, bad, or indifferent. I always read the reviews. I always do. And then giving this podcast a review will help get it suggested to other people that may not be listening just yet. All right. So thank you so much. I appreciate y'all for doing that for me. So the final thing, or the topic that I wanted to discuss this week, was pretty much that there's freedom in failing. There's so much freedom in it, freedom in failing. And I know a lot of us have fear that cripples us to even, from even taking the first step. But then once we take that first step, there's so much freedom. It's very exhilarating in failing. And you know what? I really don't even want to call it failing, because I look at things that don't work out as an opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Like when things don't work out or go as planned, I think about the lessons that are revealed immediately. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I'm open to what the lesson is, what I didn't do right, what I could have done better. Maybe I just kind of launched something at the wrong time, or maybe I rushed through something. So I get a chance to go ahead and, make those revisions and circle back around to make it better. But also too, sometimes failure is just an indication that this wasn't a good idea. Sometimes things just don't work, and that's completely okay. But you only know that things don't work once you take action, and once you try it, and once you get it off the ground. You know what I'm saying? So I think that there's so much like freedom in it. There's freedom in the fact that I always feel free because, number one, I'm always proud of myself for following through and doing exactly what I said I was going to do. Number one, I'm always proud of myself. So there's so much freedom in it because there's just a lot of opportunity that's lined. There's opportunity laced left and right, up and down, all over the failure, the things that didn't work out. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes things don't work out just so that you can, step back and go back to the drawing board. Or maybe you need to just go back and have one conversation, and that conversation ends up leading you to funding that you really needed. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just a lot of freedom in it. Like, I don't get wrapped up in the outcome. You know what I'm saying? So I just go for it. I see what happens. Sometimes I miss the mark. I miss the mark quite a bit. I do. And that's it. And the freedom also too, and the failure part of it is that I know that I'm going to come out of it better. I know I'm going to come out better. I'll always take something out of it. I'll always understand myself or understand business better. I understand something better. You know what I'm saying? So that freedom to go for something and realizing that fear does not live here anymore. Fear is gone. I'm a fearless person, 100%. There's nothing that I'm afraid of. I'm not afraid of failing. And then when I do go for it, sometimes things work out on the first try. And then a lot of times they don't. So I may not necessarily have to go back to the drawing board, but I definitely got to take a couple steps back and kind of assess what I could have done differently, And just thinking about being that person, like, because I used to be so stuck and scared to take the first step. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember like when I was really pursuing screenwriting, and I want to say that I started calling myself a screenwriter, y'all, back in like 2006. Now, mind you, I wasn't writing shit, but I was a screenwriter. I would tell everybody I was a screenwriter. I was a talker, not a doer. And, you know, the fear kept me from writing. And the reason why I wasn't writing was because I was so wrapped up in the outcome. Like, what's going to happen when I write these stories? Who am I going to give them to? Who's going to give me an opportunity? I don't know anybody in the industry. I don't have any relationships. So I done talked myself out of anything. And you know what that turned into? Me not being prepared when opportunity showed up. That's what happened. The fear crippled me and kept me, you know, running in place. And I didn't have anything to present when opportunities came up. You know, because I told God and I told the universe that I was a screenwriter. So even though I didn't have relationships in the industry, the universe worked on my behalf. I eventually got to people that were movers and shakers in the industry. And I didn't have shit to show them. I didn't have no scripts. I didn't have any complete ideas. I didn't have a synopsis. I didn't have treatments. I didn't have shit. I didn't have nothing. And it always blew up in my face, you know? So fear kept me from like taking action. And, you know, now, you know, let's just assume that I was still pursuing screenwriting. If I were, I would have all kind of stuff written and I would be able to show up and give those scripts to whoever asked for them. And if it doesn't work out, you know, the freedom in that is that I showed up for myself. The freedom is that I gave myself an opportunity. I gave myself a chance, you know, versus, you know, just looking at somebody. I would have had this look in my eyes like, oh, you want a script? An actual script? And they like, yeah, you know, let me see your script. Let me see let me see your skills. Let me see what you can do. And I couldn't do shit because I wasn't writing, y'all. I wasn't writing nothing. But I would start every conversation. Oh, I'm a screenwriter. No, I wasn't. I was just somebody that was talking a lot of fluff. But yeah, I feel really good about the opportunities that come along with things that don't work out. You know what I'm saying? Like I become so much better, you know, by looking at it like that, by turning it into an opportunity to take the lesson out of it and, you know, get a chance to improve in different parts of, like I said, on myself or in business or on YouTube or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Whatever it is, it doesn't work out. So yeah, so that is this week's episode. That is it. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this thing up. I will be back next week. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode as well. If you did, again, on Apple, if you can please go ahead and give me a rating, give me a review. And here on YouTube, please go ahead and meet me in the comments. Give this a thumbs up. I appreciate you. Y'all make the best of the day. Be good to yourself. Peace.